Hare Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Sakirti Madhavi.
Amrin Gaurdas.
Welcoming you for Chaitanya Charitamrta session. So let us all chant the Manglacharan together.
Om Ajnanatirmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta-pada-kamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha
He
Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Namo
Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimade Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshadarine
Mukam
Karoti Vacharam Bangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Aham Vande Shri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram.
Hare Krishna. So we were in chapter number 9 and we were discussing about Chaitanya's tree. So how Lord Chaitanya himself became the tree, he became the trunk. And then in the last session, towards the end, in the last slide, we were discussing about his 9 sannyasis who were like the 9 roots. And those roots were holding the tree, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself became the tree, and he was the gardener as well. And this tree was of Krishna Prem. So the fruits of this tree, the tree in some time we'll see how it is full of fruits, and those fruits are actually Krishna Prem, the love of Krishna. That was the fruit of the tree which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was gardening with so much of his love. So beginning from there, and we'll start with verse number 17. And before that, let us all chant Jaya Jaya
Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
Kandera upare bahu shakha upajila
Upari Shakha Asankhya Ila Isha Visha Shakha Kari Ek Mandal Maha Shakha Chaila Brahmanda Sakala. From the trunk grew many branches, and above them innumerable others. Thus, the branches of the Chaitanya tree formed a cluster or society with great branches covering all the universe. So here the same analogy is being taken, that from the trunk, that from the main trunk there were many branches, and from each one of those branches many other branches came about, and thus the whole tree formed a cluster or a society which pervaded the entire universe, the great branches covering all the universe.
वृक्षेरा उपरे शाखा हैला दुई स्कंदा एक अद्वैत नाम आरा नित्यानंदा. At the top of the tree, the trunk branched into two. One trunk was named Sri Advait Prabhu and the other Sri Nityananda Prabhu. So we remember the trunk was Chaitanya Mahāprabhu, and as this tree grew, it branched into two, Advait and Nityananda. So actually be prepared. Now Mahaprabhu is going to tell us in detail about each of these branches and sub-branches, and all these actually represent his devotees. So this tree is an allegorical tree of Krishna Prem, and various branches, sub-branches, roots, everything else, it depicts his devotees. So some devotees are very, very powerful devotees, very empowered devotees, and then they started preaching and they got many other devotees. So there is a branch, and then there is a sub-branch, and then the sub-sub-branch. So like that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is going to describe the whole thing.
Bada shakha upashakha tara upashakha yata upajila tara ke karib lekha shishya par shishya ara upashishya gana jagata vyapila tara nahila ganana. These branches and sub-branches and their sub-branches became so numerous that no one can actually write about them. Thus the disciples and the grand disciples and their admirers spread throughout the entire world, and it is not possible to enumerate them all.
So actually here it is the mention of spread throughout the world. So iskcon is also one such tiny little branch of that tree, spreading all over the universe, all over the world, at least we know. And there are temples all over. In any corner of the world you go and you would find an iskcon temple. So tiny little branches, that is what Mahaprabhu is talking about here. Pakila ye prema phala amrita madhura vilaya chaitanya mali nahilaya mula trijagat yata ache dhana ratna mani eka phale mulya kari taha nahi gani. The fruits ripened and became sweet and nectarian. The gardener, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, distributed them without asking any price. All the wealth in the three worlds cannot equal the value of one such nectarian fruit of devotional service. So imagine now this tree Mahaprabhu is describing, it's full of fruits, and these fruits are so expensive. Actually, these are priceless, because what Mahaprabhu's or what Krishnadas Kaviraj is saying, that all wealth in the three world cannot equal the value of one such nectarian fruit. Why it cannot equal? Because this fruit is Krishna Prem. So where do we have currency to buy a fruit of Krishna Prem? But this fruit, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is doing is, he is distributing these fruits without asking any price. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving it for free. He has opened the storehouse and he is giving everything for free. These priceless fruits are coming for free by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mage va na mage keha patra va apatra ihara vichara nahi jane deya matra Anjali Anjali bhari fele chaturdashe daridra kudana khaya malakara hase.
Not considering who asked for it and who did not, nor who is fit or who is unfit to receive it. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu distributed the fruit of devotional service. The transcendental gardener, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, distributed handful after handful of fruits in all directions. And when the poor, hungry people ate the fruit, the gardener smiled with great pleasure. So here the analogy is continuing that how there is a huge tree, the trunk is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and the different branches, strong branches of Nityanand Prabhu and Advaita Acharya are there, and then from that so many other branches and sub-branches grew, and then there are so many fruits on each of those branches. So these devotees are distributing those fruits. These are those ripened fruits. Yes. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not see the qualification, whether who is fit to receive, who is not fit to receive, whether somebody has a qualification to receive. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, I will protect you and I'll give you pure devotional service, or I'll give you myself. But first thing is, the first step is that you have to surrender yourself. Sarv dharman paritya. So Krishna had put a condition. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not put any condition. So whether one is qualified or not qualified, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing this fruit of devotional service. So here it's mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the Mali, or he is the transcendental gardener, and is distributing handful of fruits. You know, he's distributing those fruits himself. He is doing, and he is doing through the agency of all the devotees who are engaged in his service. And actually, he is distributing to the poor, hungry people. Who are those poor, hungry people? These are the ones who are languishing in this jail of material world. They are miserable. They are experiencing different kinds of problems from their bodies, from the material nature, from other living entities, repeated birth and death, old age and disease. So they're really poor, and they're looking for some happiness in this miserable material world. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is distributing them those fruits of devotional service. And when these poor, hungry people eat the fruit, then they feel satisfied, they feel happy. And seeing that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes very, very blissful.
So moving to the next section from shloka number 31 to 46, Lord Chaitanya addresses the branches and sub-branches. So he is going to address these various branches or these various devotees.
अलौकिक वृक्ष करे सर्वेंद्रिय कर्मा धरे जंगमेर धर्मा ए वृक्षेर अंगाय सब सचेतना बाड़िया व्यापीला सबे सकल भुवना.
Since the tree of devotional service is transcendental, every one of its part can perform the action of all the others. Although a tree is supposed to be immovable, this tree nevertheless moves. All the parts of this tree are spiritually cognizant, and thus as they grow, they spread all over the world. So continuing with that tree, but because this tree is spiritual, because this tree is extraordinary, so what Mahaprabhu is saying here, that every one of its part can perform the action of all the others. So like this is said for Krishna also, that each part of his transcendental body can perform perform the action of other. Like Krishna does not have to chew the food to eat. Krishna just glances over the food and he accepts the bhoga, right? So like that, this tree can also do each part. So branch or sub-branch, they can also go out and distribute. So that is what Krishna is saying, that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying that though this tree is immovable, and yet it moves. And it is spiritually cognizant, which means it is aware. There is awareness in this tree. एकल मालाकारमी काहा काहा यावा एकलवकट फला पाड़िया विलाबा
एकला उठाना दीते हाय परिश्रमा केह पाय केह ना पाय रहे मन भ्रमा. I am the only gardener. How many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick and distribute? It would certainly be a very laborious task to pick the fruits and distribute them alone. And still I suspect that some would receive them and others would not. So here is the concern which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is expressing, that he is saying that if I am the only gardener, how many places can I go? How many fruits can I pick from the tree and distribute? And it'll be a very laborious task, and even if I try really hard, there is always a possibility that there is somebody who gets left out. So this is the big concern Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has if he is the only one distributing this fruit of devotional service. And that's why he wants the cooperation of all the devotees. Yes.
So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, before we get into this shlok, let us try and understand. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or Supreme Lord Krishna as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, has personally come to this material world. He has introduced this process of pure devotional service. So when he says that he has planted the tree, that means he has established the Sankirtan movement. So Krishna himself has come. He has himself established this movement. Initially, he started spreading this movement. And then he is saying that alone, to what all places can I distribute? So he wanted, so now it is not that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu cannot distribute, but Krishna or Lord Chaitanya, they always enjoy more when their devotees get the credit. So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna tells Arjun that you become my instrument, nimitta matra, you become an instrument and you kill them. I have anyways already killed them. So here also Mahaprabhu has established, and now Mahaprabhu is telling that I am the gardener, I have established this tree, I am this tree, and now this tree is full of fruits because the gardener is so experienced. He has nurtured and watered that tree so nicely that the tree is full of fruits. Now it is about distribution. So Mahaprabhu is telling that I want all of you. And when Mahaprabhu is saying you, he is addressing to each one of us. So let's see what Mahaprabhu is saying here. Atevami agyadilu sabakare yahata prema phala dehayaritare atma ichamrita vriksha sinchi nirantara tahate asankhya phala vrakshera upara.
Therefore, I order every man, and of course this includes women, it's a gender neutral word. Therefore, I order every man within this universe to accept this Krishna consciousness movement and distribute it everywhere. By the transcendental desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, water has been sprinkled all over the tree, and thus there are innumerable fruits of love of God. So here we are receiving an instruction directly from the Supreme Lord. Therefore, I order every man within this universe, so we are definitely within this universe, to accept this Krishna conscious movement and distribute it everywhere. So we must first accept it wholeheartedly, and realizing its importance, the order of the Lord, we should distribute it everywhere. So to whomever we meet, to whomever we can, we should give it. By the transcendental desire of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, water has already been sprinkled all over the tree, and therefore there are innumerable fruits. So the fruits are not in short supply. The fruits are in abundance. All we have to just accept it and give it to others. The supply would never stop.
Ataiva sabala dehaya tare
Khaiya hauka loka ajara amare Bharat bhumi te haila manushya janma yaar janma sartha kari kara para upakar.
So now this is a very, very important verse and a direct instruction of Sriman Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So he is saying, distribute this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Let people eat these fruits and ultimately become free from old age and death. Khaiya hauka log ajara amare. Ajara so there is no jara or there is no old age, and amara, so there is no death. So just by eating this fruit, because this fruit is of Krishna Prem, so when we have this Krishna Prem, then we get out of this cycle of birth and death. So there is no old age and no death. And then भारत भूमिते होइला मनुष्य जन्म यार जन्म सार्थक करी कर पर उपकार. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India, Bharatvarsh. So for all the Indians, now this is the statement and this is the responsibility which we have to shoulder. One who has taken his birth as a human being in the land of India should make his life successful and work for the benefit of other people. So this is paropakar. We want to do good for others. We want to help others. We want to help our society. We want to help our community. We want to help our country. We want to help our family. We want to help ourselves. So this is the formula. This is the key, that the best help what we can extend to anyone else is giving them Krishna consciousness. So that is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying. He distributes this Krishna consciousness movement all over the world. Mali manusha marna hi rajdhanna phala phula diya kari punya uparjana mali hana vriksha haila eta ichhate sarva pranira upkara haya vriksha haite.
I am merely a gardener. I have neither a kingdom nor very great riches. I simply have some fruits and flowers that I wish to utilize to achieve piety in my life. Although I am acting as a gardener, I also want to be the tree, and thus I can bestow benefit upon all. So here,
So here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling that how he is the gardener and how he wants basically this to be distributed throughout the world. That is what his desire, and he is acting as a gardener and he is the tree, which means he is giving his fruits. He is distributing his fruits and he is giving those fruits of Krishna Prem, and it is up to us to grab it and pass it on. So now coming to the next section, the fruit distribution, verse number 47 to 53. Ye hata dana kari prema phala pade matta loka haila sakala keha gada gadiyaya kehata hunkar dekhi anandita hana hase malakar.
the fruit of love of God is so delicious that wherever a devotee distributes it, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the great gardener, sees that people are chanting, dancing and laughing, and that some of them are rolling on the floor and some are making loud humming sounds, he smiles with great pleasure. So here Krishnadas Kaviraj is sharing the intent of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The fruit of love of God is so delicious that whenever a devotee distributes it, those who relish the fruit anywhere in the world immediately become intoxicated, which means this fruit is such that one actually becomes relieved from all the miseries of material life and he starts tasting the transcendental life while still being in this material world. Right? So people want to do so many different kinds of philanthropic work. There are so many people who have compassion. They want to relieve the humanity of the suffering that they are facing. But what philanthropy can actually give this kind of a fruit? That when devotional service, love of God is given to someone, the person immediately becomes intoxicated with transcendental happiness and bliss. So when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sees that there are so many people who are chanting and dancing and they're laughing, and out of their great bliss, sometimes they're rolling on the floor, making loud sounds, hunkar, then Lord becomes very, very pleased. So this brings us to a very important point to all of us, Of course, the perfection of our life as an individual, the perfection of my life is if I can follow the instructions of the Lord. Nothing pleases the Lord more than one who follows his instruction. All the parents here can understand this very easily. So when you have a child, and if you have a couple of children or a parent, imagine a parent has 3-4 children, but he sees that there is one child who, if you instruct as a parent, the child listens and follows your instruction, then how much your heart will go out to that child. So Lord loves all the living entities, but he especially becomes affectionate to those who follow his instructions. And here something more is being stated. By following that instruction, if we accept that and we distribute Krishna consciousness, and the other person who receives it from me, he becomes happy, he becomes blissful, he feels relieved of the miseries of this material world, he becomes peaceful. And here, of course, he is chanting and dancing and laughing. Then that gives the thing that the Lord becomes very happy and blissful. And then imagine how much Lord becomes attracted to us. So that is the spiritual dynamics. That how by our actions, how by our intent we can please the Supreme Lord, we can attract his attention. So this is the way which is being stated here.
Shri Rupa Raghunatha Padayara
Chaitanya Charitamrta Kahe Krishna Das.
Praying at the lotus feet of Shri Rup and Shri Raghunath, always desiring their mercy, I, Krishna Das, narrate Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita, following in their footsteps. So with this, we complete the 9th chapter. And like here, we were discussing in the previous verse that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu becomes happy, and it was talking about the intoxicating effect which Krishna Prem has. So I hope we all remember that in the 7th chapter, we discussed this in detail as how those Mayavadi sannyasis, how they were inflicted with happiness when they could understand, when they saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and they understood everything, and they became so happy. So that is the effect of this Hare Krishna Mahamantra. So now let us begin chapter number 10, and we will see here it is in continuation to this desire tree which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has mentioned. So 10th chapter is in continuation to the 9th chapter, and here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or Krishnadas Kaviraj is going to describe various branches of this tree of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So this whole chapter has 164 verses. So first 7 verses is offering obeisances, 8 to 23, devotees in Orissa and Bengal. Verse number 124 to 151, devotees in Jagannath Puri.
Then 152 to 158, devotees in Jagannath Puri. Oh, there is an issue there. Yeah, so that should be devotees in Varanasi, if I am correct. That is devotees in Varanasi, 152 to 158. And then last few verses is the conclusion. So I have one, those of you who are watching, I have one small exercise. I want you to go back to this chapter 10 after the session. And I want you to go through all the verses and count how many devotees is Krishnadas Kaviraj mentioning. Is the assignment clear? We'll check it next week. So you have to go through chapter 10, go through different verses. You really don't, I mean, if you want to go, you can go through the purports, but how many devotees Krishnadas Kaviraj lists down in the
entire chapter,
in the text, in the verses. So you have to count the total number of devotees.
So actually this chapter, it's like when we go for watching, when we used to go for watching a movie. So then there would be this, what do you call it? Cast roll. Yeah, the casting. So many people who all are there in different capacities. So the whole casting comes. So similarly, this chapter and the next, I think 2 more chapters are the casting, the introduction of Chaitanya Charitamrita, the main characters. So these are full of those wonderful devotees, and in very brief, like in 1 or 2 lines, Krishnadas Kaviraj has glorified him and captured their essence. So it is very interesting. These chapters are very interesting because this gives us an introduction to various personalities in Chaitanya Charitamrita.
And one more interesting thing that Krishnadas Kaviraj points out, he says that there are lower branches, there are higher branches, but all these branches are composed of devotees, and he's saying there's no higher or lower devotee. So this is another interesting point, that observation that he makes there. Yes. So the first 7 verses are about obeisances and prayers.
Shri Chaitanya Padamboja Madhupebhyo Namo Namaha Katanchid Ashrayad Yesham Swapi Tadgandam Bhag Bhavet.
Let me repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto the bee-like devotees who always taste the honey of the lotus feet of Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu. If even a doggish non-devotee somehow takes shelter of such devotees, he enjoys the aroma of the lotus flower. So this is a very nice verse where the obeisances are being offered to Lord Caitanya, and in fact he is offering his obeisances to the devotees of Lord Caitanya. He is saying, let me repeatedly offer my respectful obeisances unto the bee-like devotee. So we understand that there is a honeybee and there is a housefly. Housefly will always sit in dirty places, and that is what the preference is. But the honeybee is not like that. Honeybee is always looking for nectar. So these devotees are always completely absorbed in serving the Supreme Lord, and therefore they are always tasting that intoxicating honey which is there in serving the feet of the Lord. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is offering his obeisances to all those devotees, because now he is going to enumerate them, list them, and at some places he'll say that it's not possible to list all of them. And then he makes a another very important point. He says that even if a doggish non-devotee somehow takes shelter of such devotees, then he can also enjoy the aroma. So why dog example is given here? We need to understand that actually dog has no sense of devotion. In fact, it can sometimes be seen that actually Tulsi Maharani has to be protected. Otherwise, the dog may come and urinate even on Tulsi Maharani. So we can understand that is the mentality of a non-devotee, is completely like a dog. So here it's mentioned, but if such a person comes and takes the shelter of a devotee of Lord Chaitanya, then even if he's dog type or dog like, that situation can change, and he can actually relish the sweetness and beauty of Lord Chaitanya. Shri
Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Premamrataro Priyan Shakha Rupan Bhakta Ganan Krishna Prema Phala Pradhan. I offer my obeisances to all the dear devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the eternal tree of love of Godhead. I offer my respects to all the branches of the tree, the devotees of the Lord who distribute the fruit of love of Krishna. So why so much mention of the devotees is there? Because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came once 500 years ago, but his devotees still continue the distribution process. So they are like the distributors. They are the ones who can give us that Krishna Prem even at a time when Mahaprabhu is personally not present. So that is why devotees are wonderful. Devotees are so very important, and devotees can actually connect us to Krishna. So moving to the next section, verse number 8 to 123. So there are a lot of devotees who are from Orissa and West Bengal. From Bengal. Bengal at that time comprised of East Bengal and West Bengal. Now East Bengal is in Bangladesh. So actually, at that time, there were a lot of devotees there in Bengal and in Orissa. So a mention of there of all those prominent devotees here in this section. चारि भाई सवंशे करे चैतन्य सेवा गौरचंद्र वीना nahi jani devi deva. So here the mention is about the four brothers. So actually this is specifically talking about Srivas Thakur, and Srivas Thakur is non-different from Narad Muni. So if we remember the Panchatattva mantra, Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vas. So here is that Shri Vas. So this Srivas Thakur was actually four brothers. Chari bhai se vamshe kare Chaitanyera seva. So four brothers along with their whole entire family, they were engaged in the service of Gaurachandra or Chaitanya Mahāprabhu. And they would not worship any demigods. They would not consider anyone else. As it is said here, Gaurachandra vina nahi jane devi deva. So just only Gaurachandra. So this is what Srivas Thakur and his brother and their families were. So they were that is why their mention is coming here at the beginning itself. So Lord Chaitanya, when he started his Sankirtan movement, in the initial days when this chanting of Hare Krishna movement was started, chanting and dancing in ecstasy, so that started happening at the house of Srivas Thakur. In fact, there is a benediction Chaitanya Mahāprabhu has given that in Srivas Angan, or in that place where he would perform the pastime, Chaitanya Mahāprabhu says that I am eternally present. So even today, if we go to Srivas Angan, so Chaitanya Mahāprabhu is present there. So that is the benediction for this family. His entire family, including extended family, were fully engaged in the service of Lord Caitanya Mahāprabhu. Acharya Ratnera Nama Shri Chandrasekhara Yanra Ghar Devi Bhave Nachila Ishvara.
So here now this discussion is about another devotee, Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya, and he is actually Chandradev or moon god. Like we have Surya Dev, and similarly we have Chandradev, the Lord of Moon, and today is Purnima, beautiful Purnima today. So Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya, so Chandradev appeared in the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya as Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya, and he lived near Nimai's house, and after passing away of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's father, he acted like his guardian and father. So Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya acted as his guardian, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would hold kirtan in his house, and one time they organized a drama also in his house, in the house of Sri Chandrasekhar Acharya, and it is mentioned that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu played the role of Lakshmi Devi. And when Shachi Mata was watching that drama, she could not realize that Lakshmi is actually Gauranga Mahaprabhu or Nimai. So she could not really understand. The part was played so well by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Could not recognize her own son.
Yeah.
Pundarika Vidyanidhi Bada Shakha Jani Yandra Namalana Prabhu Kandila Apani. So here is a mention of Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he was a very prominent branch of this tree, and it's mentioned here Yandra Namalana Prabhu Kandila Apani, for whose association Mahaprabhus would hanker. Mahaprabhu wanted to have his association. This particular devotee was very, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is none other than Vrishabhanu Maharaj. So those of you who are not aware, Vrishabhanu is actually the father of Srimati Radharani in Krishna Leela. So same Vrishabhanu comes here as Shri Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he is a very dear devotee of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Mahaprabhu treated him as his father. So the same respect he gave him as he would give to Jagannath Mishra or his father. He gave him this title of Premanidhi, and this personality, Pundarik Vidyanidhi, is actually the spiritual master of Gadadhar Pandit. So again, Gadadhar Pandit, we remember from the Panchatattva. So Gadadhar Pandit, we would be reading today also, how he is the combined incarnation of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Sakhi. So that Gadadhar Pandit, he took initiation by Pundarik Vidyanidhi. Pundarik Vidyanidhi was actually a very rich aristocratic person, and externally if somebody would look at him, he may get confused that, oh, he is like a very materialistic person with lot of interest in bhog and ashwarya. This person just wants to enjoy, so much into sensual pleasure. People might get confused, but he was such an exalted devotee. So Gadadhar Pandit actually made the same mistake, and he considered him as an ordinary person. But then once he went there to Pundarik Vidyanidhi and he started fanning. Someone was fanning. What was that? So Gadadhar Pandit actually sees his ecstasy, Pundarik Vidyanidhi ecstasy, when he was reminded of Krishna. And at that time, Gadadhar Pandit realized his mistake, he begged forgiveness, and he took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So this whole pastime would be coming up in Chaitanya Charitamrta, and we would read it in detail. But this is who Srila Pundarik Vidyanidhi is, very dear devotee to Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. बड़ा शाखा गदाधारा पंडित गोसाई तेनो लक्ष्मी रूपा तांड्रा सामा के हनाई.
So here the discussion of Gadadhar Pandit, as Sugiti was talking about Panch Tattva, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advait, Gadadhar. So Gadadhar Pandit is actually a combined incarnation or personality of Srimati Radharani and Lalita Sakhi. So he's an incarnation of Lord's internal potency. He is the incarnation of Lord's internal potency, and no one can equal him. So he was a childhood friend of Nimai, and it is mentioned that actually when we'll go into Chaitanya Charitamrta or childhood pastimes of Lord Chaitanya, so he was a very strong-headed personality, Nimai, and he was very strong in logic also. So at that time, Gadadhar Pandit would go with him, but he will maintain some distance with Nimai. But they were together from childhood, and he's an authoritative teacher of Srimad Bhagavatam. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would actually listen. In later pastime, we'll see that how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Gadadhar Pandit actually took up the service of reciting Srimad Bhagavatam to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu instructed him that those who are seeking the devotional service like that of the Brajvasis, like the love and affection which Brajvasis had for Krishna, so somebody is looking for that kind of love, to develop that kind of love for Krishna, then you should initiate them. So give Diksha to devotees seeking pure Braj Bhakti. And he was engaged in the worship of Gopinath, in the worship of Tota Gopinath. So this deity is also in Jagannath Puri, and that is where Gadadhar Pandit took Kshetra Sannyas. Kshetra Sannyas means that he took a vow that he will always remain within this area. So that's where he remained and served the deity of Tota Gopinath.
वक्रेश्वर पंडित प्रभुर बड़ प्रिय भृत्या एक भावे 26 प्रहरियान नृत्या.
So Vakreshwar Pandit was an expert dancer, and who is he? So we will see that in blue color. I mean, that's like turquoise color. No, we have these names in the middle. Here. How do you show? My hand is not coming. Yes, so we can see Anirudh. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we can see Anirudh. So Anirudh is, those of you who have been attending Chaitanya Charitamrita sessions, you would know that there is quadruple expansion. Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna and Anirudh. So that Anirudh appeared in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes as Vakreshwar Pandit. So he was a very, very dear servant of Lord Chaitanya. And whenever Lord will sing and Vakreshwar Pandit is there, he will dance. And he had the capacity to constantly, continuously dance for 72 hours. He could dance. And one time, he told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that please arrange for 10,000 Gandharvas and ask them to sing and I will dance. Yeah, so he was an astounding personality.
पंडित जगदानंद प्रभु प्राण रूपा लोके ख्यात ये हो सत्य भामर स्वरूपा. Pandit Jagdanand Prabhur Prana Roop. So he was life and soul of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He was very, very dear to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. His name was Gadadhar Pandit. Jagdanand Pandit. What did I say? Gadadhar. Sorry. Jagdanand Pandit. Lok Khyate Yeho Satya Bhamara Swaroop. So when we read Srimad Bhagavatam, so there is this queen of Krishna. Her name is Satyabhama. The same Satyabhama comes as Jagdanand Pandit. And Satyabhama has a very unique temperament. So she is the one who at times, she demands things from Krishna. Or she gets into some arguments with Krishna. Rukmini is very, very submissive queen. Whatever Krishna says, she just follows. So there are two main queens of Krishna out of 16,108. So one is Rukmini and second is Satyabhama. And their temperaments are like quite opposite. So Satyabhama is a little volatile in her temper. So same Satyabhama comes as Jagdanand Pandit. And the dealings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Jagdanand Pandit are so amazing, so beautiful, so much so that they fight also. So there are fights, as it is mentioned, appear to fight over trifles, but based on their affection for each other. So actually, Jagdanand Pandit was very concerned about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's comfort. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, because he takes sannyas, so he was not supposed to enjoy luxury. So he wanted to live like a very strict renunciate. And Jagdanand Pandit would always tell him that, no, you have to, you should be comfortable. So that was the main concern of Jagdanand Pandit. So on these issues, they would have quite a few arguments. And later we also see that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu sends Jagdanand Pandit to Navadvip. There's a very beautiful interaction there, which I think would be coming up in the Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrta. Raghava Pandita Prabhur Adya Anuchara Tandra Eka Shakha Mukhya Makar Dvajakara.
So here we see Raghav Pandit, and he is actually Dhanishta Gopi from Vraj Leela. So that's one other interesting point that we will see, that when Lord appears in Vraj Dham, he appears with his devotees. And when same Lord Krishna appears as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he again appears with his devotees here. So many of them they were in Vraj Leela, and now they have appeared in Gaur Leela. So Dhanishta Gopi was Raghav Pandit, Lord Chaitanya's original follower, and his sister Damayanti would cook a lot of food items. So what would happen is that during the 4 months, the devotees from Bengal, they will travel from Bengal to Puri, and then they will stay there for 4 months. So when the time would come to travel, so then Raghav Pandit's sister will cook many different items, and then Raghav Pandit will carry those. So actually that's why he was famous, and he more famous than Raghav Pandit were his bags, Rage Vera Jhali. So those were the bags he would carry. And the amazing thing was that the food items were cooked in such a way, the preparation was done in such a way that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could continue to accept throughout the year. You know, they will reach.
It will not go bad.
Yeah, they will not go bad, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu could accept those that love expressed through these food items throughout the year.
Prabhura atyanta priya Pandit Gangadas Yahara smarane haya sarva bandhanash.
So here there is a description of Pandit Gangadas. So Pandit Gangadas was the one in whose place Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went for studies, and he is the incarnation of Vashishta Muni. And one devotee also says that he is also like the teacher of Lord Krishna.
Sandipani.
Yeah, Sandipani Muni. But then there are two different opinions regarding this. But then he is Vashishta Muni. So one who remembers his activities attains freedom from all bondage. So when he remembers the activities of Gangadas Pandit, then we become free from bondage. So the point is that of course we are not covering in our session all the individual devotees' names that are mentioned by Krishnadas Kaviraj, but we have just picked up some ones, and this is like a one-line intro, but all these devotees are discussed in detail as we'll get into the later chapters.
Shri Nrsimha Upasaka Pradyum Brahmachari Prabhu Tandra Nama Kaila Nrsimhananda Kari. So now here there is this brahmachari, his name is Pradyumna Brahmachari, and he was actually the upasak or the worshipper of Shri Nrsimha Dev. He was an ardent follower of Nrsimha Dev, so much so that Mahaprabhu named him as Nrsimhananda. So he changed his name from Pradyumna Brahmachari to Nrsimhananda Brahmachari. And the Lord would actually interact with him. And this Pradyumna Brahmachari, he had such strong meditation that at times he would go in deep meditation and he would prepare things or he would offer things to Krishna or to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu through his meditation. So once he got to know that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would be visiting, and in his deep meditation, he actually constructed the road for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to walk on that comfortably. So he was a very, very exalted devotee and Nrsimhananda Brahmachari.
It's amazing, no? Lord Nrsimhadev would directly talk to him. Lord Nrsimhadev was actually manifest in his heart, and that's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu changed his name.
Vasudeva Datta Prabhu Britya Mahachaya Sahasra Mukhe Yandra Guna Kahile Nahaya.
So here there is a discussion of a devotee called Vasudev Datta, and he was actually Madhuvrat in the Braj pastimes. He was a singer in Vrindavan. So he was such a powerful devotee that he had purchased Krishna. Can you just imagine the meaning of that statement? Such a powerful devotee that Krishna was purchased by him, because he expressed his intense desire that, Lord, you liberate all the living entities in this material world, and whatever sins they have done, I am ready to suffer for them. So all the living entities, all their sinful reactions, you give it to me. I will suffer on their behalf, but you please deliver them. So this pleased the Lord so much. This mood of Vasudev Datta was so pleasing to the Supreme Lord.
Actually, in Chaitanya Charitamrta, Mahaprabhu says thrice that I am Vasudev Datta's man. My body is Vasudev Datta's property.
Three
times he said that, because he is so attached to Vasudev Datta because of his humility.
And in fact, Lord said that I am Vasudev Datta's man. If he wants, he can sell me to anyone.
Yeah. So with this, we have come to an end to today's session. So in the next chapter or in the next session, we will be completing this chapter, and we would be hearing about so many other wonderful devotees. So
Yeah,
looking
so-
forward to see you all.
No, please consider my request. Go through this chapter, go through the different verses, and just count the number of devotees that Krishnadas Kaviraj has mentioned. So, of course, in this session, we will not be able to enumerate all of them, but we are enumerating some of them.
So you can go to vedabase.io, and there you find Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi-Lila, chapter 10. So that is your assignment. Looking forward to see all of you next week. So
And your comments?
Hare Krishna. And yes, and pick up the personalities whom you find inspiring and write it in the comment section below. And we would personally go through that and we respond to your comments. Even if you are watching recording later on, yet do not forget to drop in your comment, because whenever we get time, we see the comments and we feel very excited reading these comments.
Yeah, so mention the devotees who really inspired you from chapter 10, whatever we have discussed till now, and from chapter 9, what was that key instruction that Lord Chaitanya gave, which will make us very dear to him.
So leave these instructions now before you sleep off, so that it is all fresh there and it comes down there. Not on the Zoom chat, not on the live chat, but on the comment in the YouTube section. So thank you all. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada
की जय चैतन्य महाप्रभु की जय, कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी महाराज की जय, चैतन्य चरितामृत ग्रंथराज की जय। आई गौर